Hi, my name is Kevin Cameron, and I'm recording this actually in 2017. And what you're seeing here is work that I did in 2008 for an at-home Halloween display, which was based on an underwater scene. And this is showing some of the props that I made for the bottom of the scene. And they are made out of various materials, which I'll try to explain throughout the show. That's actually supposed to be a bell from a sunken pirate ship. The theme of the whole Halloween display was about a pirate, and the name of it was called Devil's Plunder, which was presumably the name of the ship that sunk, the Devil's Plunder. And that could be taken either way, devil's apostrophe or devils as in many devils, to represent the bad pirates. So we're panning around. What I made was a small seamount. You're seeing actual seaweed and an actual dead crab shell, or a crab shell, and some of those seashells are real. They've been hot glued on, as well as the crab. And some of those barnacles, as you'll see here, maybe not so much in this scene, are made from styrofoam. This is a treasure chest that was originally a styrofoam cooler, which I think was from a pet store that brought in pet fish or something like that in a cooler. Now we're starting to pan upwards, and you'll see the pirate himself, which everything except for the skull was made by hand by myself, and it's made out of wire and newsprint and masking tape with what I call a glue mache, which is a mixture of white glue, carpenter's glue, and water. I forget the exact ratio, but it's something like a third glue and 2/3 water. This is a close-up of a little carving that I did on a piece of styrofoam, which was the side of the name on the side of the ship. This character we call Blake, sort of as homage to the Blake that was in the movie Fog, the pirate, and that his skull, I didn't make his skull. I actually bought the skull, and then I used tissue paper, as you can see here, with this glue mache, and when it dried, I painted it up. This is a belt buckle that was made from an old mouse pad, and then painted with copper paint and copper color paint. With, I think there's even a little bit of sparkles on there, to make it have that underwater look. And then sort of a, is it verdigris they call it, like a sort of a greenish corrosion. It was a store-bought candle, of course, votive candle, and that was actually, I got that for $5. It was a little lantern, outdoor lantern thing, and I just covered it with this really soaking wet tissue paper, like toilet tissue and Kleenex, with a glue mixture in it, and then painted it afterward. And that's why it looks so rough. You can see the detail in the fingers there. And I try to make it look as if there was, seaweed or rotten flesh or something like that, on the pirate. These suspended objects were to give it an sort of a feel of things floating around underwater, and the, pieces from the ship. There's another shot of the barnacles. That kelpy, not kelp, but seaweedy type moss was made from well, actually this here nail was designed after the old nails on the old ships with the square heads, and it's actually made of pink foam, the really dense foam, 2 pieces glued together and then painted rust colors. And that's carved out, that's foam carved out using a hot soldering iron, or for carving. So yeah, The barnacles were foam, as I had mentioned. Maybe I'll get a chance to. There's some more of them. They were just actually they were the little, those little foam balls you can get. I just would cut them in half, I think, and then I used a hot instrument to melt them into a sort of a pyramid shape and haul it out the center. Looking at pictures, and that's actual seaweed again, yeah. And it was sprayed using the Halloween hairspray. You can get different colors just to give effect. Another shot of the bell. If you look at that bell, the bottom is actually a pie plate. The center is an ice cream container, and the top I think was a piece of foam I'd cut out, covered the whole thing again with masking tape, and then this glue mache, and then paint it to look corroded and underwater. That lid actually does come off. I still use it for storage. This thing, those rivets or whatever are made from still styrofoam balls cut in half and painted to look. And that was some kind of a plant I got in Walmart aisle, and then just spray painted it to look underwatery. Added some snail shells or something. And again, some more detail to look in the sort of corrupted stuff. You can see the work there. You can bend his arms some up and down. And this is a really good effect. That's just like a hat on top of him. This strings of like spider webs you buy in Halloween type of thing, that cottony stuff, and just paint, and then when it dries, it has that effect. Paint and glue, and again clear glue. Just draped in old, you can get those claws, those cheesecloths, and you can dye them or spray paint them. And that is actually a store-bought chain, and then I've added some of that tissue paper soaked in glue, and then just spray paint. That is one of those things you put in your drawers or in your kitchen cupboards to keep things from moving around. That rubber thing, and it was cut out to look like one of those underwater plants. And you can even use this is an actual wooden barrel, and I thought it was better to knock one of the barrel, what do they call them, things right out. You give it that. Those things are made of just sprayed foam, whatever they might be. And again, those that could actually be sort of that sort of seaweedy stuff is again this cottony web stuff you can buy for Halloween, and it's just soaked in paint and stuff until it dries, paint and glue. And I didn't have bands for that, and I made it just with a leather, painted the leather like cloth. And this is a little sea urchin. I thought it would be kind of cool, and if you can tell, it's just painted toothpicks, pointy toothpicks stuck into a styrofoam ball. And again, details everything. When you're painting something, you paint several colors. Some of the little bit of complementary colors in there, and for effect. That old map piece used in there was an actual piece of paper rolled up and sort of burned the edge a bit to make it look like that. And then we're getting a full shot here of the whole thing, and this actually could be the end. So I think